Like it.
Yeah, I got my
Um,
other brothers with me too. Don't worry.
awesome. Like I said, what do you guys want to talk about today? Current topics that you guys want to talk about?
Uh,
What about NBA facilities gonna open up next week?
Okay. So we can talk about that. Let's talk about teams because that's essentially what I mean. They're putting on events all the time, right? We talked a little bit about. Oh, it disappeared again. Talked a little bit about getting fans back to the arena. But how do you do that if you're a and you got to bring your employees back, right? Your employees are just happen to be multi-million-dollar athletes. So what do you have to do? What steps do you have to go through? You think to get your players and staff back in your facility?
What do we have
Please.
to do for the individual, like the players or like everybody on the staff?
I mean, what do you got to do to get them? Because your ultimate goal is to get back to hosting events. You need your most prized commodity and your players back in your facility to train. So how would you go about doing that?
So here's the problem with opening the facilities this early. People are you can't open all the facilities. Like in New York, you should not be opening the facilities to at least June, at least. And then there's other states like Georgia and Florida that are opening back up. Like you can open those, but still that's unfair to the teams that are not able to work out and go to those facilities and work. So I feel like this situation, they need to wait more, but when the time comes, they need to make sure like everything is sanitized. Everybody that comes in is sanitizing themselves. Every piece of equipment they use needs to be sanitized. Like it's gonna be annoying, but like it's what needs to be done.
Okay, so in my experience with professional athletes, not all of them are the most hygienic people around. I'll put it that way. So let's track this from two ways. First, let's say the NBA, NFL right now, and you got to open up your facilities, right? If I'm an NFL team, I want my facility open because I want to have some sort of organized activities, right? Uh, I want to be able to get my hands on the players I just drafted. I want to be able to get them here and get them. I want to be able to get them in my facility and get them uh, acclimated to my program and all that stuff, right? So, how do I then make that happen? Because you have teams like California, which you only have how many teams are in the NFL right now in California?
4.
2, 3.
Three.
Can't count.
You have the 49ers, the Rams, and the Chargers. Las Vegas, or the Raiders moved to Las Vegas. So, what do you do with those three teams? What do you do with their facilities? If I can't open facilities up in California, how do I get them equal access to be able to host events, OTAs, all these other things that are needed to make that happen? Do I go to my other teams and say, "Hey, we're gonna bring them over here and use your facility"? Because coaches are kind of paranoid.
Either that or use college facilities. I don't know what that,
Okay,
but that could be another option.
so the Kings use college facilities in California, but what do we need to pack up our stuff and go to Montana or someplace like that where they can? I mean, it's possible. teams do it for camp, or they load up everything and move. Um, so there's that way. What about testing your players, testing your staff?
Everybody should be tested before entering the facility when this all starts going back to normal. Like, everybody should be tested because there shouldn't be any taken.
Okay. So with testing, if you want to be a part of testing, there's also expenses that are incurred with that, right? So this goes back to opening up facilities even for spectators. I can't test everybody who comes in my stadium. Right? I don't have the speed to do that. I mean, that's come through, stand this line, wait 15 minutes to get in. That's not going to happen. Temperature checks. We can put thermal cameras up that can literally just check your temperature as you're walking through. That's how they do it in China and all these other places. I don't know. The event management industry as a whole will be changed. And how these teams, how these leagues go about arranging events and making them happen. We talked about the NFL draft last week, and how many of y'all tuned in and watched it? Everybody for the most part? Yeah. So, in that, it's fascinating because they had 55 million viewers tuned in to watch it. That's more than they've ever had. So it's going to show there's nothing else on TV. People are going to tune in. But also, they talked about it, and it provided some sense of normalcy to society, right? And when they think about events that we put on, it provides some. It's what we do as a society: is go to events and do things. Overall, think about everything you go and do. There's some event that's organized, and you're at it. You might not think of it as an event, but it's an event. Let's talk about college a little. Yeah. How many of y'all will come back to? I know the survey went. How many of y'all are willing to come back to campus and sit in a class of 30 students? People are next to you, or something like this.
In the fall?
In the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. So put your risk management legal concern hat on right now. That's where it comes about. If I gotta have social distancing in place and these best practices to make it work, the whole entire social distancing and isolation that we're in now is never intended to stop the spread of the virus or kill it totally. It'll never wipe it out. But what it does is it enables time to catch up resources, right? There's always that lag time where we're going to pick up resources. And as a university, you have so many events. It's just one big, like, hoopla party of events that go on every single day on a campus, right? Big and small. There's fraternity meetings, there's sorority meetings, there's we put our tent up on Prince Lawn and people come by and hang out and talk about stuff. That's an event. We're all in close proximity. Each one of your classes is an event. Where some rooms we can spread out a little bit. Some rooms we can't. Think about our classroom that we had in Williams-Brice. We can't really spread out, right? Everyone has to be there. And then as a university, if I can't have, you got to think about the business ramifications of this. So if I have a classroom that normally holds 15, it normally holds 30, and it makes space, I can only fit 15 in there. I just lost half my money that I was going to make on that class, right? That's the other thing you have to think about, especially in the sports world. If I have a stadium that holds 30,000 and I can only reasonably accommodate 15,000, I just lost half of my revenue. Is it beneficial for me as a business to even open my doors? Am I going to technically lose money, right? So college colleges, universities going to classes in the fall. If it is online or some sort of hybrid environment, thinking from a business perspective with this, I can still host events. I can still hold classes. I can still do everything else where I can have 25, 30 people in a class, albeit online, but we can still do stuff like this. And I'm still making money off of 30 people instead of 15, right? So there's an element to event management that most people don't want to think about, right? We want to get back to events. We want to get back to doing things. Trust me, I'm right there with you guys. I wish we had all the events that we could go but it's important to be safe and watch for it. So, um, that's the important component of it. Now, that being said, let's talk about your final exam. Um, it's posted to Moodle. You can't access it yet, but it'll be open on May 1st. And I believe I set it to close May 5th. Whatever the date, I think it's May 5th. It might be May 6th. Just check whatever's out there on Moodle. I want you guys to help me. We've gone through this whole semester, and I want you guys to be my ability to come up with what this class could look like in the fall, right? Let's say we're online in the fall. I still have to and am tasked with providing a high quality experiential engagement. Your final exam is asking you guys to come up with a virtual event or events that my students could engage in the fall. To teach this virtually, but I still want people to come up with events and do events. That's the one thing I want you guys to come up with. You'll see it when it's posted on Moodle for you. I want you guys to create a 3 to 5 page programming guide. We started out this semester and I hand you all a binder and everything else to go with for your event. I want to be able to take, if I like your event, take that, hand it to them and say, here you go. Here's your group's event. Get together, get working. How are you going to organize this? How are you going to do it? Be creative with these events. Think about what you could have done. I know some of y'all were gambling on marbles, I believe, which is perfectly fine. But, I mean, we can't do anything, stuff like that. But what type of game, what type of events, how can we organize this? What can we do using the technology and digital platform? That's your guys' any questions on that?
So, sorry. Being a programming guide, so basically you want just like for the event, you want steps to take to do the event. Just like, are we gonna have to like classify for operation, sales, and marketing?
No, you don't have to do that. I just want to know what events can you come up with? What unique events could I have a group of students do? It doesn't have to be a group of 11. It could be a smaller group of 4, 6. Think about working together virtually. How would you work together virtually? How could you pull that off if it's using Microsoft Teams, if it's using Zoom? I mean, there's different ways to make that work. How could you organize that event? What would that event look like? How could you pull it off? Those are all things I want you to think through. So open to anything and everything. I just want 25 different perspectives that I can take from that are developed by you. So in the fall, if we do go that route, I can sit there and say, hey, these were developed by some of your former classmates. So here's some ideas, some neat things. I know my wife and I, we play family game night with family from back in Florida, and it's pretty fun. Events like that, what could you do? How could you engage people? Knowing that we might not be in this realm, but we might be in a semi-separate environment. How can we potentially do that if we're back where we can still engage, but we can't engage in classes face to face. So maybe if you're in your home or in your community, what could you do? What type of event could you pull forward? Those are type of things that I would highly encourage you to see what you can find. I enjoy hearing what you guys can develop. So, any questions for me? Okay.
I just have one for the that final report. You wanted sales, operation, and marketing, the thing that's due May 1st. You wanted them all together on one doc, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that should be submitted by the director to me.
Okay.
I have one group's already in, so that is really good. Exactly what I was looking for. So I just want that as a guide.
We don't all have to individually turn it in. We just have the director turn it in.
Director turns it in, and
Okay.
the way that the grading will. Sometimes I'll take what the director gives me, and then as you guys are submitting your course or your peer evaluations of everybody, obviously I've seen what's occurred throughout the semester. I see what the report talks about, and then I see your performance and how others in your group have rated you and what you've done. That all gets put together, and that's how I devise your grade for that portion. All right.
So we do the portfolio, peer eval, and a reflection, just a reflection ourselves.
So that, yes, that reflection letter that's in there. I know some of you have turned it in already, and that's, I don't know, I say like a Dear John letter or something, but just something you can write to the students of next spring of what it was like going through this, what's your reflections on the class, what could you have done differently, how could you have organized better, what could you have done. That's your own personal reflection. That I had students come in at the beginning and talk about what the class is like and those. And hopefully it helped you guys understand what my expectations were. Those letters I could take, I wipe your name off of them, and then I'll say, hey, here's what I want you guys to do. Because as you all know by now, I run this class a whole lot differently than probably every other class you've ever taken. And my expectations are those that are a whole lot higher than probably other classes. I run this just like for lack of a better term, a business. So that's where I want to be able to take that information and be able to give that to them so they're fully prepared in what they're doing. So, yeah. And I had to come up with an assignment to fill some points, so that's part of the reason why. Yeah, 100% honest with you. So, any other questions for me? My wife has jokes. Just came out. So that being said, make sure you guys get your stuff. You're in the home stretch, so get it submitted. And it's been fun having you guys in class. I wish we could actually carry it forward like we're supposed to. But it's been great having you guys, and know that I'm here as a resource for you as you move forward. Don't hesitate to email me or something. We can do a Zoom call. I don't care. I'm here to support you guys in what you're doing. I like knowing where you guys are at, what you're up to. So with that, if there's no other questions,